You won't believe what Triple H just did. After years of Brock Lesnar getting away with everything, and I mean everything, destroying superstars, walking out whenever he wants, holding championships hostage, showing up when he feels like it, Triple H has finally had enough. And what pushed him over the edge? The absolute decimation of Braun Breaker. But here's what's got the entire WWE universe divided right now. Was this termination actually justified, or did Triple H just make the biggest mistake of his regime? Because let me tell you something that's going to make your blood boil. Brock Lesnar has done far worse than what happened to Breaker. Remember when he destroyed a production truck? Still employed. Remember when he threw Michael Cole around like a ragdoll? Still employed. Remember when he legitimately busted Randy Orton open at SummerSlam 2016 with those vicious elbows? Not only did he stay employed, he got rewarded with more main event spots. But now, suddenly, attacking Braun Breaker is where Triple H draws the line? Make it make sense. Let's talk about what actually went down, because the footage is insane. Braun Breaker was cutting a promo on Raw, talking about his dominance, his future, how he's the next big thing in WWE, and out of nowhere, Brock's music hits. Now, we've all seen Brock attack people before. We know what to expect. But this was different. This wasn't just an F5 and done. This was personal. This was vicious. Brock hit him with not one, not two, but 5 F5s. Then he locked in the Kimura lock and wouldn't let go, even when Breaker was screaming, even when referees were trying to pull him off, even when security flooded the ring. But here's where it gets controversial, and this is what has everyone talking. Some people are saying Brock crossed a line, that he went into business for himself, that he was trying to legitimately injure Braun Breaker because he felt threatened by the young star's rise. Others are saying this was exactly what WWE needed, that this kind of intensity, this kind of reality is what's been missing from the product. And you know what? Both sides have a point, and that's what makes this situation so complicated. Triple H called an emergency meeting backstage immediately after the attack. Reports from inside sources say he was furious. Not the worked shoot kind of furious we see on TV, genuinely angry. He apparently told Brock, "You just ended your own career," right there in front of everyone. And Brock? According to people who were there, he just smiled. He didn't apologize, didn't try to explain himself, just smiled and walked out of the building. That's the Brock Lesnar we know. He doesn't answer to anyone. Except now, apparently, he does. Within hours, WWE's official statement dropped, and I quote, "WWE has terminated its contract with Brock Lesnar effective immediately following an unprovoked and excessively violent attack on Braun Breaker. This behavior is unacceptable and does not represent the values of WWE." Sounds pretty final, right? But hold on, because if you've been following WWE for more than 5 minutes, you know that terminations don't always mean what they say they mean. How many times have we seen someone get fired only to return a few months later like nothing happened? Let's examine Triple H's position here, because it's actually more complicated than it seems. As Chief Content Officer, he's trying to build a new WWE, one that's more athletic, more competitive, more focused on wrestling. He's elevated guys like Gunther, Ilja Dragunov, Chad Gable, wrestlers who can go in that ring. He's given women legitimate main event opportunities. He's brought back the prestige to championships. And then you have Brock Lesnar, the ultimate part-timer, the guy who represents everything Triple H is supposedly trying to move away from. So from that perspective, maybe this termination makes perfect sense. Maybe this is Triple H making a statement: nobody is bigger than WWE. Not even Brock Lesnar. But here's the other side of this coin, and this is where I think Triple H might have actually screwed up. Love him or hate him, Brock Lesnar is money. He's one of the biggest draws in WWE history. When his music hits, people react. When he's advertised for a show, ticket sales go up. When he's in a main event, people watch. You can't just replace that overnight. And what happens when WrestleMania season rolls around and you need that one big attraction to put butts in seats? You think LA Knight vs. Gunther is going to sell out a stadium? Maybe. But you know, Brock Lesnar vs. Roman Reigns, or Brock Lesnar vs. Cody Rhodes, or Brock Lesnar vs. whoever would absolutely do it. Now let's talk about Braun Breaker's role in all this, because here's where things get really interesting. Braun was reportedly hospitalized after the attack with a separated shoulder and possible concussion. His father, Rick Steiner, and his uncle, Scott Steiner, are furious. Scott Steiner, and you know how he has went on social media and blasted Brock, calling him a juiced-up coward and challenging him to face a real Steiner. Now, WWE quickly made him delete those posts, but the internet never forgets. Screenshots are everywhere. But some people, and this is the conspiracy theory that's gaining traction, think Braun Breaker might have actually been in on it. That this was all a work to write Brock off television while they figure out his new contract, and simultaneously give Braun the biggest rub of his career. Think about it, what better way to make Braun Breaker a made man than having Brock Lesnar care enough about him to destroy him? When Brock comes back, and let's be honest, he probably will come back, that automatic feud is worth millions. The chase, the revenge story, the young lion versus the old beast, it writes itself. Here's what we know for sure: Brock Lesnar's contract was actually up for renegotiation in December. WWE wanted to sign him to a new deal, but Brock was demanding more money and fewer dates. Classic Brock. Triple H reportedly wanted him to work at least 15 dates per year, including all major please. Brock wanted 10 dates maximum and only WrestleMania guaranteed. They were at a stalemate. So what if this termination is actually just a way for both sides to save face? WWE gets to look strong by standing up to Brock, and Brock gets to walk away without looking like he abandoned WWE. Then in 6 months, when they've worked out a new deal, he returns as a surprise at the Royal Rumble or something, and everyone acts like the termination never happened. The locker room reaction to this is absolutely fascinating. According to multiple sources, there's a split among the roster. The veterans, guys like Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, they reportedly support Triple H's decision. They're tired of Brock getting special treatment, tired of him taking spots from guys who are there every single week grinding it out. Drew McIntyre especially has been vocal behind the scenes, saying something like, "It's about damn time someone held him accountable." But then you have some of the younger guys who are actually defending Brock, saying that's the level of intensity WWE needs, that everyone's gotten too soft, that the business has lost its edge. And you know what? I can see both perspectives. WWE in the Attitude Era was built on chaos, on unpredictability, on guys going off script and doing things that felt real. But WWE Today is a publicly traded company with corporate sponsors and a PG rating. You can't just have guys legitimately hurting each other and call it entertainment. There's a line, and even I have to admit that Brock might have crossed it. But where exactly is that line? Because WWE has made millions of dollars selling us the idea that Brock Lesnar is a legitimate badass who doesn't follow the rules. And now they're firing him for being exactly what they told us he was? Let's talk about the business implications of this decision, because they're huge. Brock Lesnar was scheduled for several major appearances over the next few months. He was supposed to be at Survivor Series. He was in talks for a potential match at the Royal Rumble. And most importantly, there were serious discussions about him facing Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41 in a passing of the torch moment where Cody finally defeats the Beast incarnate. All of that is now in jeopardy. WWE's creative team is apparently scrambling to rewrite months of storylines. But here's what I think is going to happen, and you can call me crazy, but hear me out. This termination is going to last exactly long enough for WWE to gauge the reaction. If ticket sales drop, if ratings decline, if social media engagement falls off, Brock will be back before you can say Suplex City. But if WWE thrives without him, if someone like Breaker or Gunther or LA Knight steps up and fills that void, then maybe, just maybe, this termination is real. Triple H might actually be willing to bet WWE's future on his vision of a new era that doesn't need Brock Lesnar. The timing of this is also suspicious. We're only a few months away from the Royal Rumble, which is traditionally when WWE starts building toward WrestleMania. If Brock is truly gone, that opens up so many possibilities. Does Roman Reigns finally get his definitive one-on-one match with Cody Rhodes? Does Drew McIntyre finally get his WrestleMania moment? Does Gunther continue his historic reign and face someone like Seth Rollins or CM Punk on the biggest stage? The WWE landscape just got turned completely upside down. Social media has been exploding with reactions to this news. Some fans are celebrating, saying WWE has finally taken a stand against a part-timer who's been holding the company back for years. Others are devastated, saying that WWE just lost one of their biggest stars over what might have been a worked angle gone slightly wrong. The hashtag Bring Back Brock is trending alongside hashtag Thank You Triple H. The WWE Universe is completely divided on this, and that's exactly what makes it such compelling television, even if it's happening in real life. Here's my take, and I want you to let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. Triple H made a power move here. Whether it's a work or a shoot, whether it's permanent or temporary, he's establishing himself as the authority in WWE. Not Vince McMahon anymore. Vince is gone. Not Nick Khan. He handles the business side. Triple H controls the creative and the talent, and he just proved that nobody is untouchable. Not even Brock Lesnar. That sends a message to every single person in that locker room: you work for WWE. WWE doesn't work for you. And this is a big but. Triple H better hope he's right about this. Because if WWE suffers without Brock, if that WrestleMania buy rate comes in lower than expected, if those stadium shows don't sell out like they usually do, people are going to point to this decision as the moment Triple H's ego got in the way of good business. And in WWE, at the end of the day, it's always about business. What do you think? Was Triple H justified in terminating Brock Lesnar? Or did he just make the biggest mistake of his career? Should Brock have been held accountable for his actions? Or is this level of intensity exactly what WWE needs right now? And most importantly, do you think this is a work or a shoot? Drop your comments below because I'm reading every single one. Hit that like button if you want to see more breaking news and analysis like this, and subscribe to WWE Reporter if you haven't already, because we're bringing you the latest and most controversial stories in professional wrestling. The next few weeks are going to be critical for WWE. How they handle this situation will define Triple H's legacy as a creative leader. Will Brock Lesnar ever return? Will Braun Breaker come back as a conquering hero with the ultimate revenge story? Or will WWE move on completely and prove that nobody is bigger than the company itself? Whatever happens, you know we'll be here covering every single development, every twist, every turn. This is the biggest story in WWE right now, and it's only just beginning.